Going live. Video is starting. You're now live. Well, hey, everybody. We are live. We are live, everybody.
There it is.
I'm going to share.
There it is. There it is. There it is.
By the way, you know my promotion for the show today was supposed to be a rap. I said, we got a show today. We got a show today. If you want to take a listen, Facebook Live, so you aren't missing. Gosh, I bet you that. If you want to take a listen, Facebook Live, you aren't missing because we got a show today. Anyway.
It sounds like you stole the beat from Sugar Hill Gang.
Yes, I did. All right, we got to start the show now.
I know, man. We're supposed to start a while ago.
Well, I haven't even hit record yet. All right, here we go. Hey, Matt.
Kenny.
So I don't know if you see, it's been a while since you saw me, but the last time that you saw me I was a little shaggier, got longer hair, got longer beard, but not so because today I actually saw our good friend Amber over at Classic Man Cuts.
I have an appointment with her this weekend.
And here's the thing. She is getting busy.
Booked.
Yep. So she is. She's really popular. She's really good.
Yeah.
All you have to do is go to classicmancuts.com. You click on Amber's photo, and you'll be able to book her well in advance. And we suggest that you book her well in advance.
If you just got a haircut, maybe start looking to book on her schedule next week for your next haircut.
You get a haircut every week?
No. I'm just saying, like, maybe wait till next week, see what she has available, like, for, 30 days out.
You know what?
Or
you
whatever
can do?
it is.
You can actually book your next appointment while you're there.
Yeah,
she'll
you should
actually
do that.
look
Okay,
like
you
which
should
is
do
what
that.
I did. So I got one booked, but she does it all. She does haircut, she does beard trim, she does full shaves, straight razor shaves with a hot towel. She has a steamer.
That's the best.
The hot towel treatment is so nice. She's got that going on, but she also does ladies' cuts as well. So don't think that this is just a guy-centric thing. You can go check her out. It is Amber over at Classic Man Cuts, classicmancuts.com. Book her today and book her now because she's going to get busy. Enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are seven acknowledged wonders of the world. You are about to witness the eighth.
If this was a wacky morning show. Come on, y'all, do it. And we're back. Been a while, man. Hey, Orlando, where they going? This is your Two Moves here on the radio with our buddy Al.
Everyone who's stuck on I-4 traffic right now, listening to Two Moves.
It really hurts my throat to do that voice. Hey, everybody, it's Two Moves, episode 66. Can you believe it?
You know what I'm thinking of when I hear 66? Star Wars Order 66.
Ooh, I like
Kill
it.
all the Jedi.
All right. Speaking of killing Jedi, I'm Kenny.
I am Matt. I still have to watch the finals of Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney Plus.
I have not started.
Such a great show.
Right,
No
that's
one
what I've
ruin
heard.
it. Do not ruin it.
Please don't ruin it. You can check us out on multiple platforms. You could. We're on Facebook Live right now. We're streaming live. If you happen to want to catch us live, we're on Facebook Live. You could also text us 347-MIMOOFS. That's MIMOOFS.
Check us on YouTube. Subscribe and like.
Exactly. We're all about the Two Moves. And then you could always email us, show@twomoves.com. And as we start every single show, we have been getting some interactivity going on with that. We have a text message from a 321
When
number.
you say interactivity, you mean just hate mail.
Pretty much.
Hate mail spam.
So, we got a text coming in. What's a job that only exists in a sci-fi or fantasy movie that you would like to try? And the example that they give is, I think it'd be really cool if you could harvest lightning bolts. The way they do in the movie Stardust. Now, I'm not familiar with the movie Stardust.
I've never even heard of that.
But I think,
But that sounds great.
yeah, he goes, let's go catch some lightning.
I wonder
stuff
if
like
that's
that.
what's it on?
I don't know.
sounds
Stardust.
great.
I've never heard of that movie. But
I've never
let me
heard
say this. Let's not limit it to sci-fi or fantasy. But what's a movie-only job?
A movie only job? Hitman. Straight up Hitman.
Okay, but technically, a hitman can exist in the real world. I'm saying,
okay. So again, going back to Star Wars, you have like the pilots that run. They're spice runners between planets, and spice in the Star Wars world is like drugs.
Apparently, Stardust was a 2007 film written by Matthew Vaughn, who did the Kingsman movies.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is
I
it
remember
like
that.
a kids movie or something, or what is it?
I don't know. It's got like a weird. Look at that poster. It looks like
yeah,
that's
I don't know. It didn't look like it
Rene
did too
Russo,
good.
I think.
Did-
I
and
don't know.
is that Robert De Niro? Cousin? Robert De Niro's
It's-
cousin?
If Robert De Niro and Colin Farrell had a cousin.
That's exactly true.
But anyway, I think the easy answer is operating the bar that the Toons and the humans interact with in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Okay, that's gonna be a tough job.
It would be a tough job because
You'd
it would
be-
be absolute chaos all the
Yeah.
time.
You'd be annoyed as hell. Like after every shift, you're probably hating tunes. You're probably hating real life people. You probably just don't even want to deal with it
Ooh,
anymore.
but that's sweet, sweet money. That's
You're
sweet,
getting
sweet
that,
money
you're getting
coming
that tune
in.
money,
You getting that tune
cartoon money.
Yeah, I think that would be good. I'm trying to think. Is there any other like movie only job that's in there? Because it would have to be relegated to a sci-fi or a cartoon
Yeah,
type of movie.
because everything else is based on like real. Even action movies are going to have real jobs in there. You can have the CIA secret spy or something, right? But okay, so just think of it sci-fi movies. Okay, you have like the movie Alien. You have the guy who flies the ship between worlds. I don't know.
That's lame.
I know, but okay, just think of a sci-fi movie. Terminator. You're the guy that has to build Skynet.
That's my task. Just
That's your
build
job.
Skynet.
The computer engineer that's literally that there is some guy out there working for Google who's creating AI, and he's like he like goes into the bar after work and he's like flexing on people. He's like they're like, so what, some girl comes up to him and they're like, so what do you do? And he goes, well, the best way to put it is I'm literally creating Skynet. I'm in an office, a cubicle, creating Skynet.
You know what would not be a good job is the customer service department at Acme, because all your products just blow up, and you know that the products that they're making
have a whole
are
line of
not-
just-
it's just a whole line of just failure of products. And to be a customer service rep in that department, you would just, because first off, it'd be Wile E. Coyote calling you all the time, and he doesn't talk; he just holds up signs, which you can't hear over the phone.
You'd have to use the American Sign Language call-in number.
That is true. But I would say that would probably be the worst fictional job that is movie and TV based.
Think of a sci-fi movie. Give me a sci-fi movie, and let's think of...
Space Jam. Sorry, cartoons are on my mind.
No, just not do...
Stargate.
Okay, Stargate. You are... Okay, in Stargate, they go to the other planet. They're on the desert. You are the guy that has all of the camel-like animals that has to herd them around. That's your job.
Oh, okay. That's not bad. Facebook Nick actually chimes in on our live stream, which again, you could always watch us live on Facebook as well as our YouTube channel. Is there a job at Hogwarts that you think you can handle?
What's Hogwarts?
Bro's really going to come in here with what's Hogwarts.
You are the substitute teacher. You don't actually get to teach the main characters. You're just there, every once in a while when like Snape has like a migraine.
If you're a substitute teacher, do you actually know any magic at all?
You know a little bit of every magic.
I was going to say, so you're just the babysitter for those that are learning magic.
Just know I had the craziest moment of clarity when I referenced Professor Snape. If you had texted me like, hey man, what's the one bad guy, good guy's name, and I would not know who you're talking about. It just came to me.
That was pretty good.
That's how bad. That's how bad I don't know.
See, I think
Harry
if
Potter.
you didn't know magic, but you had to be the cafeteria chef for the school.
The school janitor,
Oh,
the bus driver.
Well, they're all flying everywhere. But no, I'll tell you this: the janitor, all the crap you'd have to clean up from failed
Explosions.
potions, failed animal conjuring, failed everything, spells. Yeah, that would be pretty gnarly.
The PE teacher at Hogwarts.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure a quarter of the school I could just shove into a locker. They ain't going to PE.
They should have had one school in Harry Potter that was like the jocks. Straight up, it was the jocks.
So technically, if you were to break down the 4 schools of Hogwarts, the Hufflepuffs would be the band nerds. You'd have the Gryffindor would be like the student council and the popular kids. The Slytherin would be like the bullies, you know what I mean? But not like the jock bullies, but like the Roger Klotz bullies with
Right.
the leather jackets.
Yeah.
And then the
Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw would be your typical like conniving jocks.
Okay, I don't remember the movie that much to remember the characters and what school they, were part of, or house they were part of. But
You've never taken the test? You've
No.
never had a chickie take a test
nope.
with you? Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that text. That was great. And then people are always randomly posting on our Facebook page, and Sal comes in. Apparently, a bitmapped image designed by Apple just to demonstrate like some random, OS thing is a half cow, half dog, and it was called Dog Cow. And the sound that a dog cow would make is moof, which was a combination of moo and woof.
It also just looks like a dog that's like a Dalmatian.
An
with two-
elongated dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, we found a moof in the wild. Was that it was the noise that the Apple Mac OS dog cow would make is a moof.
Watch Apple sue us.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Hardcore.
And then, so again, you could always take part. Show at twomoves.com. I don't know if I said the email. I know we were talking about the Facebook and YouTube and our text and stuff. We have a lot to talk about that, we had coming up in there. We had some topics that were from the last show that we still didn't get to. We got stuff that had been happening. We did have a listener bring it to my attention. You know how we had the Velveeta ice cream mac and cheese?
Yes.
I'm sorry, it wasn't Velveeta. It was Kraft mac and cheese ice
Yeah,
cream.
it was just disgusting.
Apparently, Velveeta is now coming out with scented nail polish because they saw that I painted my nails recently. Got the rainbow color, which if you're watching live, you can see the rainbow. But they have it's bright highlighter yellow, and when it dries, it smells like Velveeta cheese.
Not a fan.
Really? You wouldn't try it?
No.
Would you
No.
smell it?
I for curiosity's sake, but I'm pretty sure that I would get annoyed if I was with somebody who had that scent on them.
Well, I'll tell you right now, it's only $15 a bottle, which in the nail polish world is not that expensive. I mean, it's on the pricey end, but it's not that expensive. And there's two shades. There's Finger Food, which is a bright red, and I think that's probably your Flamin' Hot. And then there's La Dolce Velveeta, which is a creamy yellow. And it smells like cheese. Only when they're dry, so it's like not when it's liquid form.
Okay, so it's not like you can pull the top off one of those scented markers and just sniff
Just
all
huff
day.
it. Did you get in trouble? Did your teacher
Here's the
ever
thing,
yell at you when
what
that
if
happened?
That's what if that's a myth that that really wouldn't
Get
kill
you
your
high?
brain? Because you used to
Oh,
say
yeah.
it would get you high and that would kill your brain cells.
Well, the teacher...
That's what I heard all the time.
Yeah, the teachers would always yell at us when they would catch us doing it because you're supposed to smell the paper after you color. That's how you're supposed to get the
Here's
smell.
why I think it's a myth. If it was really that dangerous, where it would make you high or kill brain cells, it never would have made it past FDA.
Oh, I completely agree.
So that tells me it's just bullshit,
Yeah.
and they just didn't want you sniffing.
That's
markers.
true. Nicole chimes in on our Facebook page, says that she will totally buy a bottle so I can put it on and we can smell it.
All right.
Let's do it.
If she doesn't want to get on the show,
Email
put it on
us.
put on a fingernail,
Show it
cut
to-
off the finger, send it in to us. We'll pass it around, smell it, give it back.
You do have to cauterize where you cut off because we can't be smelling the fermenting cutoff part. It has
Yeah.
to be fresh.
If you want to do a toe, that's fine.
Okay, just the nail though. Did you ever see like those Mucinex not Mucinex, but like the toe fungus commercials where they lift up the toenail?
No.
Oh God!
Don't.
It's a cartoon though. It's it's totally a
don't,
cartoon,
no.
but it's for like an anti.
We're getting off track. We have so much to
this-
to cover.
We're the ADD of podcast, man. I'm gonna pull up this anti-fungus toenail commercial, and you're gonna freak out. This is when you talk. to
No,
fill in
I
the gap.
refuse. Our listeners are suffering now because you want to take a.
Oh, hey, hi, I'm Digger. Don't mind me, I'm just...
So just to paint you, I'll play
Oh,
it.
hey, hi, I'm Digger. Don't mind me, I'm just a dermatophyte. You know, a nail infection. All I want...
Okay, so it's a cartoon, and this is like 2003 animation here, but it's a cartoon fungus, and he's running around, and he walks up to a cartoon toe, and he talks about how, hey, Lamisil will kill me. This is what I do if you don't use Lamisil. And I'm going to show Matt.
Yeah, I see it.
is to get in here and live under your nail.
That's so gross. Stop that. That looks so painful.
He lifts up the entire toenail and crawls in. And yeah, that is the most cringe I think I've ever seen in a commercial. Matt apparently is bored by that story.
I didn't want to see it because that stuff like that just genuinely creeps me out. And if you know the photos where people have they'll take a picture of a foot or sometimes a hand, and then Photoshop that plant that has like the seeds.
Ooh, yeah.
And so it looks like your foot has seeds coming out. It's like one of the most disgusting, uncomfortable things to look at.
We got some barf emojis coming up in our live chat. Facebook Nick wants to know if we're going to title the show "Smell My Fingers," Matt.
Episode 60 is better than what I thought pre-show.
Episode 66, smell my fingers. We didn't have it on our topic list, but I did want to briefly bring it up. I painted my nails rainbow color because I went to a Pride bar crawl this past Saturday.
Oh, I hope this is going into the story that I like.
Oh, that was a completely different story that I'm going to bring up, but I'll have it
Go
in you.
ahead.
But I went to a Pride bar crawl before a soccer game that Matt and I went to, which Orlando City won. It was awesome. It was a great game.
Great game.
And we went there, and afterwards I went back downtown to rejoin the bar crawl. And if you had seen me, full tutus, full Pride, like paraphernalia. Well, I get to the point where I'm there with my cousin, and she had been dancing all night, but I'm like, hey, I think we're going to wind it down. But you know what? We don't want to leave yet. Let me get some water. So we went to this bar, Celine. That was where the last stop of the bar crawl was. And it was packed. And I was there, and I'm like, cool, let me get some water. You go dance, have fun. Because we met some people. And she was dancing, and I'm sitting there waiting to get some water. And at Celine, they actually have bottles of water. And I'm like, all right, I don't mind paying like $1 for a bottle of water or whatever. Well, I'm sitting there waiting for the bartender, and this guy comes up. And this isn't, I'm flattered when guys hit on me. In fact, I kind of like it. So this guy comes up, and I compliment him on his attire because he'd been part of the Pride crawl as well. And he had complimented him. But apparently when I said, I like what you're wearing, he thought that as, oh, I love you. Because he got so like fluttery eyes and just was like so like staring at me.
So how'd you let him
So
down?
he was drunk. No, but here's the thing. In any other instance, I would have been like, okay, cool, we'll see you, have fun, whatever.
Instead,
but I had
you
to
took
sit there. I had to sit there waiting.
Instead, you guys both escaped to the bathroom together.
I had to sit there. But I had to sit there like waiting for the water. And as I'm waiting for the water, he's just literally staring at me like with a smile on his face. Like I think
it was just high and drunk.
Well,
and that's
no,
just...
he definitely was. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, have you ever been in a situation where it's like you really didn't want to continue an interaction with someone, but you were stuck where you were because, again, in my instance, I was waiting for the bartender's attention and stuff.
So to answer that question, yes. Before the game, I had met up with you, your cousin. No. Oh yeah, I mean that's a standard occurrence. Like,
yeah,
there are times when I'm with my coworkers and they're bitching about something, and I just want to get the hell out of there.
But see, in this instance,
and they know that
it was a stranger, and like I almost felt compelled to like, should I just buy you a drink so you leave? Like,
well, sometimes it's
to try to like
buy
them off.
You could be in the grocery store or at the gym, and someone just makes small talk, and they just they believe it's a. You respond once, and then it's an invitation to just
let me tell you my life story.
And I'm like, look, man, I'm just trying to run in and run out. I'm just trying to grab like a carton of eggs or some shit. But thank you for sharing your entire
anyway,
life.
So what was your story? So that was mine. That was just an awkward like.
It was one of the. What it is? Is the nicest compliment that I'd like. One of the nicest compliments that I wasn't sure if it was a compliment. It literally could have been a compliment
or an insult
or a complete insult.
Yeah, it could have been.
And so if you want to tell it, but yeah, I was trying to find out what this person was trying to say before committing to this is a bitch. She's a total bitch. Or thank you so much.
To give it an example and a comparison, it would be like if you came in with like sunglasses, and I was like, nice sunglasses, bro. But then do you take that as, wait, am I cracking on you? Like it's not really nice?
Like what?
Or am I true? Or is it truly like, hey man, nice sunglasses, bro?
Right.
It really depends how you say it. The problem was the person that we were talking to was British. So she had a British accent.
We
couldn't tell her intonation.
Yeah.
Because Matt walks in wearing an Orlando City jersey, kit, as they say in England. And she goes...
Immediately.
Hey,
First thing she says.
She goes, hey, did you get that shirt fitted for you? And we're thinking, wait, are you trying to say it's like too tight, like Matt's a fatso?
Yeah,
and
like
he's
like
bursting out?
I altered this,
Yeah.
in some manner
To show off,
Yeah.
or whatever, or was she complimenting, be like, that shirt fits you really well? Did
Right.
you get it fitted?
So I said no. I got it off Amazon.
But then she kept going with it.
Right.
She kept saying it's like, oh, it's because your arm. And I'm thinking, is she cracking on him?
Right. She literally
or-
said she goes, that jersey looks like it was made for you.
Yeah.
Like it was fitted for you. And she said something to the effect of, that's the best. You're wearing that jersey like the best way that could possibly be.
Yeah. So the more and more she kept talking, the more we realized it was a compliment. And then the more you and I talked about it, it's like, that is probably one of the nicest
know.
compliments for never having met her.
Right.
And you didn't even say hi or hey, I'm Matt or anything like that.
I thought I was just coming in, grabbing you, and leaving.
Yeah, well, I stayed because I wanted to see where the conversation goes.
Mm-hmm.
I was finishing up a drink and I had to go to the bathroom, and then as that was happening and we were about to get ready, that she busts out again, never having met you before. So I thought that was interesting. But
This is just a nice, solid compliment.
And let me
That's
say this.
one that I'll never forget.
And you know
Every
what?
time I put on that jersey, I'm gonna think about that.
and could have been flirting with you. It could have been a flirt.
Who knows? I was, you know what? I was probably giving her the look that you were saying the guy at Celine was giving you.
Yeah,
The look.
maybe.
But it was a product of the nice compliment.
Now, and I don't want to make this a sexist comment. Is it better if a girl were to randomly compliment a dude? Because I think the stereotype is if a guy were to do the exact same
Mm-hmm.
thing, it would come off as creepy.
Yeah, like if you were to say that dress looks great on you, like
Eh,
that,
but-
or what if I said, okay, that actually sounds like nice,
But-
right?
but it also depends how you say it, I think.
But if you were to say, did you get that dress fitted? And they're like, why? And I were to say, because the way your legs or your hips or your butt looks in it.
Or not even that, just be like, hey, you fit that dress really well. Or you know what I mean? Like, I think it really does depend on
like
how you
that
say
dress.
it.
But you see, the thing is, you say, if you were to, say the same thing she said to me, that dress looks like it was made for you.
Yeah.
That would easily, they know that you were complimenting.
That would be. Now, and I think it also depends what you're wearing. Because me in a full rainbow gear, people are assuming I'm gay. So if I say that, they're like, "Oh, gay guy's complimenting me." But if you're coming up, let's say, and I'm not that you were, but let's say you were wearing like a UFC shirt, you had like a tribal tattoo, your hair was all spiked up, and you said the exact same thing, it would immediately come off as this guy's creepy.
Right. I 100% agree. So anyway, that's the story. Very nice compliment. And then we were talking about English accents and the different regions of England versus accents in America.
Yeah. Let me say this. There are, but I don't think there are as wide of a range as there is in the U.S. Because in the U.S. you have like the California Valley Girl, you have the Southerner, you have like the New York, and then you have like the old
Jersey.
Yeah,
First off, there's varying.
Yep.
I mean, we talked about this with her in the club briefly, or in the bar briefly. There's like multiple New York accents.
Oh yeah. And then
You know,
there's like
Long Island,
there's like the
Brooklyn.
Minnesotan accent and all that stuff. And then we started thinking, well, technically she was informing us there's the same, because then you have like the blah Cockney accent, and then you have like the proper British,
Yeah, it
accent.
sounds very intelligent.
Yeah, and then you have like the Liverpool like oingy boingy type of
Oingy Boingy is.
Yeah.
That was what we were going to call this podcast before we settled on two moves.
oink-
Oingy Boingy.
oingy boingy with Matt and Kenny. Anyway, so moving on, we got a whole lot of other stuff. So we talked about
Ladies, give compliments. Like you don't feel embarrassed or to give a compliment like that. That literally made my evening.
And let me say this too. There's a lot of females that are on Facebook be like, guys, what's one piece of advice you could give ladies? The number one I will always say is, ladies, initiate sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, ladies, you be the one to come up and say that.
I didn't get the impression she was hitting
I'm
on
not
me,
saying
by the
I'm
way.
not saying in that instance. I'm just saying it's like, you know what? If you're telling ladies, hey, you should compliment guys, it makes them feel just as good.
Yeah.
Do the same thing. Ladies, buy him a drink. You know what I mean? I'm not saying every time. I'm not saying like do it all the time, but I'm like, if you're really interested, do it. Nike, just do it. Write that down.
Mail it to ourselves.
All right. So a previous topic that we want to talk about before we get into like the main meat of the show. Main meat is also another name possibility. We talked about
Main
we
Meat was
briefly
my
talked
porn
about
name.
this, I think, on the last show about giving lottery tickets as gifts.
Yes. So birthdays, Christmas. All right. So here's what my question was. sometimes as a gift you might just give, like multiple scratch off tickets. All right. Say Kenny, you were to give me a scratch off ticket and I won $100.
Yeah.
Right. I text you, hey man, that $100.
Yeah, thanks for the scratch off ticket.
Right,
I
right.
won.
That's much different than, okay, would you expect me to share any of that with you?
So
And so where this is going is, what is the limit where it's like, this dude won $100,000. I wish he would have at least given me like 1,000 or something.
yeah, as a way to say thank you or something.
Right. What is that limit where you're like, I think I should get something, and this is how much?
It's hard because there's a part of you that kind of doesn't want it to win, but then you do because you always want to be known as like, oh, I'm the reason that you got that. But you're right. I think there is a monetary
they can hold
limit.
that over your, like, let's just say it's life-changing money, right? Let's just say it's not even a scratch-off ticket. Let's just say it's a legit
let me
like
say this.
lotto ticket.
Yeah, but who does that as a gift? That's just lame.
I've seen that.
At least with the scratch off ticket, there's like some work, there's some degree
of excitement. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Rather than you're just checking online the following day to see if your numbers won. But yeah, let's just say it's like several million off of a scratch off ticket.
Okay.
Right. Does that ruin a friendship? Because forever,
You know what? I think it can.
forever, like say I'm the winner of that and you
Yeah.
gave it to me, you have that over my head constantly. Like resentment and like
Yeah,
and
'cause-
like you're the only reason you have those millions is because I did a nice thing for your birthday.
Well, and not just that, but then there's always going to be that level of envy. It's like, oh, that could have been
Yeah.
my scratch off.
Yeah.
I could have kept that one and given him the
Right,
other one.
Right.
Yeah.
And so at what point
Is there an unwritten rule that if you receive it, that you give some of it to the person who gave it to you?
that's what I'm asking. That's
And what is that amount? See, let me say this.
If I won 20,000,
Okay.
let's say you or I won 20,000.
Yeah.
What would be the number, the amount of money that you would share with the
See,
other person?
that's hard because
Do you split it?
okay. And here's the thing:
Is splitting too
You
much?
you look like a jerk if you give a ticket with the clause, "Hey, I'm giving this to you, but just know if whatever you win,
That's
you
why.
and I split."
That's why you have to do this up front.
But you look like such a jerk if you do that.
It's just like how we have the rule of a lunch for an airport run.
Which we'll talk about that in a
if,
minute.
If I ever give you a lottery ticket, look, let's just say it now. We have it on record. We'll save it forever for
So you're
court. This will
saying
be Exhibit 1.
If you give me as a gift, a birthday gift, lottery scratch off,
Mm-hmm. And it's anything over 100,000 or more.
okay, so your limit is 100,000.
If you were to give me a lottery ticket or scratch off ticket in any way, and I won 100,000 or more, I will agree to split it with you, but you need to do the same back.
Okay, if we're talking a true split, okay, so let's do it in tiers. I say
Everything below that is just a tip.
no 0 to 1,000, you owe me nothing. If it's 0 to
You
1,000,
could do a dinner.
1,000 to 10,000, we're talking about a night out. Like, and I don't mean just like Applebee's and
Right.
you
Because
know,
let's
Chili's
be,
2-for-1s.
Yeah, because 10,000 at the highest end of that tier isn't going to change anyone's life significantly. So we might as well blow a good portion of it.
So
on a
that's
night
what I'm saying. So I'm thinking if it's $1,000 up to 10,000, then it's a night out. And so again, you and I do it,
Yeah.
and then it's like, listen, let's say I win 10,000,
Yeah.
we're going to Roots.
No griping about ordering every
It's like,
appetizer.
yeah, we're,
It's like,
we're
bro,
going
that's
to
why we're
Roots
there.
Chris. We're going to get the fillet.
That's why we're there.
And then afterwards, we're going to go out and we're just going to get wasted, kind of thing. Maybe not bottle service because that
Yeah,
does
that's
that.
not, that's a waste.
So I'm saying, so zero to 1,000, nothing. 1,000 to 10,000, a night out. 10,000 to 100,000. See, that's different.
I feel
Ooh.
so. Say it's 15,000. We split that? Is that like that's too much for just 15?
You know what? But that's. How about this? How about this as a caveat? So you and I, let's say you win 15,000. You and I split it, but taxes come out of my half.
Okay.
Like, but I'm giving. Let me say that I
Yeah.
give it as a gift.
Well,
to you.
that almost makes sense anyway because if depending on tax brackets,
Well,
it
okay,
makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, that's true. Okay, so but let's make it an even number because 15,000 is. So let's say it's 20,000,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm making up numbers here. Let's say out of the taxes of 20,000, 5,000 are taxes.
Yeah.
You get 10,000 because it's your gift. I gave it to you. You're the owner of the
Yeah.
gift. My cut is whatever is left over after taxes.
Yeah.
I think that might
Okay.
be the fair way to go.
For the 10 to for the 10 to 50 or what?
I think I would say 10 to 50 because $50,000 you're talking about a year's salary.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? You're talking about a year's salary. So so here's the tiers, Move Troop. 0 to 1,000, nothing. You're not obligated for anything.
A good thank you.
1,000 to 10,000, night out on the town.
Yeah.
10,000 to 50,000,
The tax
the gift, the recipient
of the gift.
gets half. The giver gets half minus taxes. Anything over 50,000, a true split on the taxes.
Yeah.
You good with that plan?
Yeah, that works.
All right, we're gonna air shake on it.
This is again. One of us is going to win several $1 million on some, gift scratch off or lotto ticket, and we're going to have to present this to a judge.
I know,
like,
right?
and the jury's going to be like, I still don't understand what it doesn't make sense how they did it.
Be like, Your Honor, in order to get the context, we have to start from the
We
beginning.
have to start from the beginning of the show. The jury has to listen to the entire show.
And then it's like
for context.
the jury's like, "Are we allowed to ask questions?" He goes, "Yes." He goes, so that Velveeta nail polish.
I want to see.
So
I want to see what the jersey looked like on Mr. Gunter.
exactly, and it's like, hey, so you mentioned Facebook Nick. Is he going to be deposed, or
Is he a witness to this?
By the way, he does comment that he used to think English accents were sexy, but then he heard one with a Cockney accent and it ruined it. And I will say that's like, oh, blah 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 blah, like that sort of English accent is gross. So you were talking about how you and I have like a deal for that. Now, let's say you've done the white elephant gifts where you randomly pick. Now, you've seen people do scratch offs in the white elephant gifts. Is that an instance where, let's say it randomly ends up where you and I and a bunch of people did that, but I end up with the lottery tickets? I find out when the white elephant gift exchange is done, oh, hey, man, I'm the one who contributed the scratch offs. Do I now owe you that? Because I had no idea it came from you, and you had no intention of giving it to me.
I think it's the same. I think that if you, I would say if it's a white elephant, you know that someone within your group of friends or coworkers is going to get
But you and I have this agreement, but the 10 other people that are involved don't.
You can't push the agreement on them.
But what I'm saying is, but if I end up getting it and you come to me and say, hey, man, I was the one with it, does our agreement still exist? Because technically you had no intention of if it was anyone else, you don't get nothing. So why should you get it? Because I randomly
But that's
got
why
it.
we have the agreement.
But-
in case one of us happens to get lucky
but
at
see-
the other's peril.
Yeah, but at the same time, then it's one of those, but the intention wasn't to give it to me. I just happenstance.
But I also knew that when I got those scratch offs and threw them in the white elephant, there was a chance you could get it.
But if I don't want it and I got stuck with it,
Well, then when you got the scratch offs, you should have said, quick announcement, Matt, did you buy these? Because that's going to determine
No,
whether
because-
I want
no, because you can't-
whether I want to pass on this or
no,
not.
because you can't reveal. That's the whole point, is you can't reveal
Okay,
who
so
got
then what
what.
happens is, here's what happens. When the white elephant is done, that's when you scratch them. That's when I would come to you and I say, hey, Kenny, just FYI, before you scratch those,
No, I know. But then at the same time, I would have been like, well, had I known that, I wouldn't have kept these.
then we'll trade.
No,
Trade gifts.
because no, I don't want your socks.
Then I'll take them back.
I don't want your handmade mitten.
Look, you win significant amount of money. Moves out there. If a family member or friend or coworker happens to give you a lottery ticket and it wins big, I feel like to avoid resentment and ruining friendship, you should probably consider sharing some portion of it, or don't scratch it off in front of people. Just tell them
that
later
is true.
it's a loser.
Yeah, that is true. But then you get
Next
that
thing you know,
karma.
Next thing you roll up in a brand new Mercedes,
You get
and
that
they're like,
karma on you, though.
the brand new Mercedes is like, where'd you get that?
So let me throw this out there. What was the worst gift you've ever received in a white elephant gift? Because there's always like
The ones at work are always
amount.
really good because
there's
it's
always
usually
a
just
dollar amount.
it's always alcohol related. It's usually a bottle of stuff.
But have you ever gotten where like someone just doesn't understand and they end up buying like?
So
Because let me say this. You could easily stereotype because there's always the scratch off tickets.
Mm.
There's always the alcohol. There's always the gag gift.
My-
Because it's always one of those where the limit's $50. They'll buy $50 of like wacky gag stuff that is not usable. And then there's always the technology. There's always the piece of technology that is like an Amazon Echo or something like that.
I didn't get this, but I was part of a white elephant where someone got a used putter, and it had the person's name engraved on it.
See,
like when I say
No,
the
no.
original person's which wasn't even that person's name. Like they got it at a garage sale.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you'll always get someone with the gag gift, and you'll always get like the really useful item. There's always the one good item that everyone wants.
I was at a White Elephant where it was a Bible, but they had gone to the extent of cutting out. Actually, no. It wasn't a Bible. It was a book, AA Anonymous, and they cut out the pages of the book and put in joints.
All
They
right,
put some joints in it.
that's cool. This was work, right?
No.
Okay, because
It
I'm
was
like,
not work. It
aren't
was
you
not
guys
work.
lawyers?
No.
All right. Moving on. Man, we're going to have a lot to get through. This is going to be a really long episode. We wanted to talk about this because there was, we're going to save one of these topics for later, and we'll do that. But in the last few weeks, and one of the reasons we've just had a lot of chaos, but then we've had a lot of like work stuff. Matt and I have both traveled, not together, but for work, we had,
We went to Puerto Rico.
we hung out. No, I meant recently.
Oh, okay.
Like, you and I have traveled a lot of places together. We've gone to Vegas, we've gone to Biloxi, we've gone to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, that's right. Mostly gambling and
Gambling.
yeah, gambling.
So we each had work trips that we went on, but coincidentally, we both had hassles coming back from work. Going to the location was fine. For me, I had a show in Atlanta, and it was happening where the show was the morning of the day, and I didn't want to stay there, so I was going to fly out the very last flight from Atlanta to Orlando. And you would think Atlanta to Orlando,
Easy flight.
easy enough flight. But and I'm going to call them out because they're never going to be a sponsor. But Frontier Airlines get a notification, they straight up cancel the flight. And so I'm freaking out, and they're like, okay, well, Frontier, and it is a bit innovative, but there's a reason why I don't like it. They're like, we can do a couple of things. One, you can do nothing and we'll book a flight for you, but it could be tomorrow night, also last night at flight,
Ugh.
or it could be not direct. You could be going Atlanta to Dallas to, Orlando, but you could do nothing. We'll take care of it.
Why don't they just find a solution and then tell you that rather than
There's-
it's like a mystery flight?
Because there's four. There's either do nothing and we'll do it for you. There's you can book the flight on your own on a competing airline up to $400 and we'll reimburse you. Or alternate transportation, like if you took a train or a bus or you rented a car or something, and we'll reimburse you up to that. We were looking at the flights. Unfortunately, every other Frontier flight, and it was me and a coworker, every other Frontier flight was booked. Couldn't get on that. And so we're like, oh, man, we can try to do a competing airline, but again, it's going to be the next day.
Yeah.
And like, not just the next day, but we wouldn't get home till the afternoon. So you know what? Let's just rent a car. So we go online. We're like, hey, this was like at 11 o'clock at night, by the way.
You'd still get back in the morning.
And so it's like, listen, you and I.
That's like a six
hour drive. And I'm like, there's two of us. If anything, like we can just chug Red Bull. I'll do 3 hours. You do 3 hours. It's not a problem. We go online to rent a car, and the Atlanta airport, the car rental facility it's not attached to the airport. So you had to take the train there. We take the train, we show up there, and it is a line 100 people deep.
Because everyone's in the same
Everyone's
situation.
doing the same, and because it's 11 o'clock at night, 2 people working the counters.
Oh, that's so awful.
And we're waiting in line, and it's like, there's no way we can do this. So we try to go online, and we're like, hey, we got to suck it up. We're just going to get a hotel and, do another flight. So we tried doing another flight, and of course, all the early flights are gone, and now we're having to do like these wacky connections or whatever. So we suck it up. We end up doing that. Now, here's what I don't like about this. Frontier requires you to put up the money up front, and then they'll reimburse you. But not everyone has the luxury of being able to have a credit card that can do that.
Yeah.
Let's say you're a family of 4. That's $1,000 easily to be able to fly back. And there are some families, I'm like, listen, we don't have $1,000 just to like put down and then wait 6 to 8 weeks for the check to come back.
Right. You're going to owe that on your next
exactly. And
your
so
next bill.
I think that it's a terrible plan. Like I think it should be, hey, book this, but then what we'll do is we'll give you a code, and that code will automatically pay for it.
They should have like travel partners of some sort.
I completely
with
agree.
One of those codes.
But so it was really annoying. Thankfully we ended up getting there, but it was just a nightmare. Now here's the thing. Then we try to be like, hey, we had to get a hotel. Like, you should owe us for this hotel. And they're like, oh, did you get a voucher from one of the employees? Be like, no, because when you guys canceled our flight, there were no employees around, so I could not get a voucher. And they're like, oh, we can't reimburse without a voucher. Be like, where was I supposed to get the voucher?
Yeah.
Like how it's like literally
Did you call
impossibility.
into an 800 number?
No,
24 hours.
well, this was all via email and everything too. Now, but here's the thing, because at the time, given the options, it said, yeah, just use this link for reimbursement and we'll do all this. So when I did that and I submitted the flights and the hotel room and the transportation to get there,
They called out the
they
hotel.
said, hey, flight's not a problem. You'll get the check in the mail. But the hotel, where's your voucher for the hotel? And it's like, we didn't get one.
And what's stupid is because like the person who wrote that to you, like they know you had to get a hotel.
Yeah, exactly. Because this isn't a bougie thing. I'm not sleeping in an airport. I'm not. Like I can't do that. Like, especially because they make airports nowadays where they put the bars in between the
Yeah, so
seats,
you
so you
purposely
can't
can't do it, yeah.
even sleep there. So, and I'm doing that, and they're going back and forth. It's like, well, you needed to find someone. I'm like, and I literally wrote this because I was being very snarky. I'm like, you might as well just say, in order to get reimbursed from the hotel, you have to find Iron Man. And then you and Iron Man have to fight a unicorn. Then you have to take a photo on a Polaroid holding a unicorn and, Iron Man's head in your hands and submit that to us and we'll reimburse it. It's like, it would be just as plausible for me to do that task than what you're asking me right now. So
what's the latest?
Oh, I'm in a fight with them. They sent me, this was like a month ago. They've sent me the money for the flights already because thankfully this is all company paid for. So the company, they're not like upset about it, but out of principle, I'm constantly updating them. So made it back. And what really sucked for me was the day I intentionally chose that last flight out because the following day was MegaCon and I wanted to go to MegaCon and I ended up landing at like noon and having to drive straight from the airport. I'm in like gross clothes going straight from the airport to MegaCon. But now MegaCon was fun. It was awesome. Got some cool artwork and stuff, but that was my insane flight story. And then lo and behold, Matt, about like 2 weeks later, says, you're not going to believe this. And Matt was traveling for work as well. And I'll let you explain your perils of getting back.
You won't believe it. We'll just leave it at that. No. To make it short, I had a flight to Green Bay, leaving probably around 5 o'clock to Atlanta to Green Bay. I get at the gate. I'm sorry. I can't even talk right now. I get to the airport.
You're so angry.
I get to the airport, and as I'm getting out of the car, I get a text message that my flight's been delayed over an hour. And so when that happens, it tells you you're not going to be able to make your connecting flight to Green Bay, so you're going to get stuck in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I get to the gate. I'm sorry, the ticket counter, and I explain.
And this is in Orlando.
In Orlando.
Yeah.
I said, I need to be in Green Bay tonight because I have court tomorrow morning. Have to be there. And so the guy behind the ticket counter was like, let me just look up a few things. He's like, great news. There was another flight earlier in the day that's still being delayed, but it should leave at almost the exact same time you were scheduled to leave.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put you on that flight.
Oh, great.
I make it there. Okay. I make it to Green Bay on time. Depositions went well. Depositions end around noon.
This is the next day.
The next day.
Yeah.
Yep. Around noon. And I take the Uber back to the airport in Green Bay, very small airport. And as I'm just like in the Uber, I'm just looking up my confirmation and stuff just to check in, see whatever. And I see that I don't have a return flight. Not that, to be clear, the flight was not canceled. Okay.
Yeah.
The flight was still leaving. I was just not going to be on it. So
clearly, that dude at the gate effed it up.
I went to the ticket counter in Green Bay and I explained, hey, this was my confirmation. You can see the original email that told me I'm on this flight, connecting to Minneapolis, going to Orlando. And the lady's like, yeah, it looks like it was canceled yesterday. Like you were just taken off the flight. The bad news is Green Bay to Minneapolis is now fully booked.
Yeah.
And Minneapolis to Orlando only has 3 seats left, and they're first class only. So I'm thinking, okay, if I can just find a way to get to Minneapolis, maybe they'll there's seats available at least on the Minneapolis to Orlando flight. I was on hold for about an hour, and just a lot of phone calls. They at one point told me you might have to drive to Appleton, Wisconsin, to get on a flight to Minneapolis, and then you're back on track. Appleton is about half an hour away. I told them, all right, well, if I do that, I'm gonna have to get an Uber, and they're like, they indicated they would cover that.
Which, by the way, just for reference, Green Bay to Minneapolis is a 4.5-hour drive. So if it was one of those where, I got to just drive to Minneapolis,
I wouldn't have made
I
it
can
in time.
catch. I know, but I'm just for listeners' reference.
Yeah. So eventually, after being on hold for like just about an hour, they come back and say, hey, good news. We were able to get you on your original flight.
Yeah.
You're not going to have your original seats, whatever, no big deal. And then we also were able to get you back on your original flight from Minneapolis to Orlando. I asked, well, did you give me one of those like 3 first-class seats,
Ooh la la.
And they said, no, unfortunately, we can't do that. Like what we did was we bumped someone else with a higher,
I don't like that.
a higher, Sky Miles than you up to first class, and you got their seat.
Nope, don't like that at all.
Well, that's the whole purpose of being. I wasn't so upset about that. I knew it was a long shot.
You at least got
but they
home.
didn't. But they didn't put me out anything. Yeah, I wasn't put out.
Yeah,
anything.
but there was an inconvenience. You did get inconvenience.
I mean, I spent an hour on hold. Yes, but
Well, no,
here's.
But not just that. But there was the whole like, what if because of all this whole situation, you canceled things? You called and said, hey, I can't make the flight home. I got to cancel this.
Well, if that were the case, then I definitely would have bitched.
But you should. But don't get me wrong. You're the
You
Karen.
were literally telling me to Karen.
Yeah, you're the Karen of
and
the two
I'm
of us.
saying like I don't think I had any valid reason to Karen. But here's the crazy thing for listeners. I believe that the universe is sometimes balancing things out, and sometimes it's fucking with me. I had like 3.5 hours until my flight, and there was a casino right across the street from the Green Bay airport. So I said, let me just check my bags, and I'm going to walk across the street. Literally played some craps and poker and was up about $400. So it all worked out. Don't
really know if that's the lesson we want to portray here.
Just
but
gamble. These
So-
people in the casino are
so here's the
giving me
thing.
money.
So
bags of money.
I got to call Matt out on this one. So initially, when he told me, hey, I'm flying from Minneapolis home, and he kind of was briefly giving me the situation, he goes, can you pick me up from the airport? I'm like, we have an agreement. Airport pickups equal a meal. And that's fine. That's totally great. So I'm sitting there, and his flight lands at, let's say, midnight. It was delayed.
It was
like right at midnight, but it was delayed 15 minutes. I'm like, not a problem. I'm a night owl anyway. Cool. We live just about 15 minutes from the airport. So I'm like, cool. The moment he touches down is when I can leave, because the timing of him getting his bags, I will be pulling right up.
Yep.
That's how it should be. I literally am in my car, and he sends me a text.
How
saying,
far were you in your car?
No, I literally had sat in my car.
Okay.
And you texted me and said, hey, someone else is picking me up from the airport.
Right.
Now, this is the question that I ask. I had set aside time. It's time it's time out, not time spent. That's if you think about like if you rent anything, it's time out, not time used. I had solidified staying up. And you know what? I'm going to organize my plans. I'm going to organize my outfits. I'm going to organize maybe my meals. I'm going to organize whatever in order to pick you up from the airport.
That's a lot of organizing.
And then you said, nope, I'm good. And I'm like, oh, okay. Had I known that way earlier, maybe could have gone to bed at 11. Maybe could have done other things. Maybe could have gone out drinking.
So let's skip to the one thing though. I have agreed to honor but so let me ask you this.
Yeah, and I'm not calling you out on this.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
topic is, how long is the statute of limitations
on waving someone off?
Waving someone off on an agreed upon plan. Now, there is a caveat, because Matt was mid-flight and he didn't realize the whole rigmarole was going on until mid-flight, because the flight had Wi-Fi, but he was able to do iMessage. Now, I don't have an iPhone,
right,
but Matt could have been able to contact people who did have an iPhone who could contact
right.
me.
And just to the people that are listening thinking, oh, you could have gone on Facebook or Instagram or some social media. The flight that I was on has Wi-Fi specifically that it's iMessage only.
Yeah, okay, and again, that's fine, but there are multiple people that you could have reached out who did have iMessage, who could have reached out to me to let me know this. And the flight is about, 3-hour flight? Yeah. So you had 3 hours, essentially, to figure this out and determine this. Now, I'm not calling you out because you're trying to back out on the meal. I'm still holding you to that meal. But is there a certain cutoff time? Because knowing the flight's 3 hours,
I would say
the cutoff?
I would say the cutoff when you're taking off.
When you're taking off
Yeah.
is the cutoff.
Yeah.
Okay. What about if it's a flight from Atlanta to Orlando? Is that the cutoff? Because that's only about an hour away. So is that a good?
You have to
cutoff?
use the same rule across the board.
Okay. So it doesn't matter if it could be a Miami to Orlando flight that is 30 minutes, and that's
Yeah.
still the cutoff.
30 minutes.
What if we lived more than 30 minutes
Because
away from the
I'm
airport?
going to tell you why.
Okay.
Because if the takeoff is your last opportunity to say it's been delayed.
Oh no, yeah,
right,
of course.
So it's the same rule. It's, hey, I now, by me saying, hey, I already got another ride, that's like basically me saying I've been delayed indefinitely. Till to the next day. I'm delayed to the next day. So that's why I think the backing out from the gate.
So, but that's because you and I only live 10 to 15 minutes
Yeah.
from the airport.
Yeah.
What if we lived in Brevard, where we grew up, where
Yeah,
it takes
it's an
an
hour,
hour
yeah.
to get there?
The rules would have to be different.
Okay, that's what I was getting at. So,
Yeah.
all right, interesting. Now, that's for airport pickups. What about any other sort of like, hey, pick me up from work, or you know what I mean? Or it's like, hey, I'm going to pick you up and we're going to go out to like a hockey game in Tampa, but then I come here and you're stuck working, or you have a last minute phone call or meeting, and we end up being delayed, missing the start time of a game.
Ooh,
Is
yeah.
there some sort of makeup that way?
Yeah, that's one of those situations where maybe we still make it, but we miss like 10 minutes of the opening period to the hockey match, the hockey game. I'm buying the first round or something like that of drinks to make
Okay.
up for it.
Interesting.
And paying for parking.
All right. Well, guys, we have to move on to
Yeah.
our next topic. We'll save that other one for later for the next show. But of course, we always end up discussing things that have happened in between shows. There's actually been a lot, and we're going to try to get through it. It is our new segment called "What's Going On."
Oh, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? Oh, what's going on?
What's Going On, brought to you by our amazing sponsors. We talked about her before, Amber over at Classic Man Cuts, classicmancuts.com, as well as Jennifer and Ashley with Her Majesty Services. Get your place clean. We're in summer. It's no longer spring cleaning. It's now summer cleaning. And if you don't have kids, you can't use them as forced labor to clean up the house over the summer. So why not call some professionals and get Jennifer and Ashley over at Her Majesty Services, and as well as Declassified Cosmetics. Check out their website and get on board for cosmetics inspired by the spooky. So Matt, you and we often eat on the go. And there are times where,
We're going on the eat most of the time.
Yep.
We're always going when we're eating. That's
Yep.
the problem.
So I know that a lot of times, we'll end up eating burgers or some nuggies and stuff. And there's some things where it's like, oh man, like you get the wrapper in the way. You can't wrap stuff up. But
Right.
students at Johns Hopkins University have invented a tape that you can use to hold your burrito together.
edible?
And it's edible. So instead of having to have that wrapper and having to constantly awkwardly peel the foil round by round.
Because if you get foil, that's tough.
Exactly.
That's gonna
But they've invented, a team of Johns Hopkins University students are having an edible tape, and it's called Tasty Tape, and it can seal your burrito shut. So as you're eating it, it won't flop open. What do you think?
I want to know if it's what it's made out of, like organic. Is it how many calories?
These are
the questions.
They're chemical and biomolecular engineering students, and they learned the science around tape and adhesive. They're not disclosing the secret formula as to what makes
that's
it
probably
sticky.
worth a lot.
It probably
That is definitely
is.
worth a lot.
But I would definitely eat it. And then, are you a fan of The Office?
Oh yeah.
So the scene or the episode where they do the beach day, and Michael gets the walk on coals thing in order to try to prove it. Have you ever done that?
No.
Do you know the science behind it?
Yeah. I mean, you're spreading the heat out, and the heat stays underneath the lava rock for the most part.
Correct. It's like when you bake a cake and you touch the top of the cake. If you just pat it, it's not going to burn your hand.
Right, you gotta keep
It's
moving,
when
right?
it's if you keep your hand on the cake. That's because it's the way the lava rocks absorb the heat. So when you're supposed to walk across it, that's why you and you do it really fast. You don't burn your feet. Well, unfortunately, a team building exercise that was meant to get coworkers to walk across. This would have been Move for the Week, but it would have been it went wrong. 25 employees of a Swiss ad agency were injured Tuesday when they were walking over hot
25
coals in Zurich.
So the first person, they didn't learn their lesson.
10 ambulances and 2 emergency medical teams and police officers from multiple agencies were deployed to help.
Workers' comp gonna be crazy.
So it apparently requires, a special type of whatever, but I guess they just didn't do it correctly, and the employees probably didn't understand. You're supposed to walk fast across. 25 people
They
injured.
must have all walked on at the same time.
It had to have been that situation.
There's just no way.
But I mean, I hope they go well. But if that isn't a
Everyone's
Michael Scott situation,
25 people working from home for a while.
Yep. So anyway, yeah, apparently he organized a long line of people to walk across a short roll of burning coals, and it was like a conga line essentially, and they were just all burning their feet.
Conga and what's the other game that Limbo?
Oh, I was like,
Conga, Limbo, coals.
thank you.
Not fire coals like the department store.
Okay. And that's what's going on because, we've been going long on this show. So we always move forward with what's going on to our moof of the week.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
You little stupid and whoa.
I want to say move for the week.
You look dumb and whoa.
All right, Matt, you're a lawyer.
That's correct.
And we talk about frivolous lawsuits all the time now, and we all know just because a lawsuit is filed doesn't mean it's actually gonna, take place. Mm-hmm. And we've heard some pretty wacky ones. But have you heard of one of this? A couple from India is taking legal action against their son and daughter-in-law because they aren't having any kids, thus making them grandparents.
Oh.
They filed a petition. Now, this is India, so I don't know how the laws are there. But they filed a petition seeking about $643,000 in damages. Their 35-year-old son and their 31-year-old daughter-in-law have to either produce a child within the next year or pay compensation, is what the lawsuit. According to the petition, they said they spent around $257,000 to raise their son and feel that it is not proper compensation by not giving him a grandchild. So they're saying if we spent this amount of money to raise you,
going to be, I mean, at least under my, in my mind's law, I don't know anything about Indian law, but that's dismissed quick.
yeah, but I think that's
What if you were like, fine, you know what? We're just going to adopt a kid. What do you say about that?
That's true.
Adopting a kid right now, and then
you're right.
Lawsuit dismissed, and then you give the kid up for adoption back.
Ooh.
Oh, you foster a kid.
You foster a kid who's 17 and a half.
Ooh,
so
yep.
you just have to put up with 6 months of
Isn't there
them.
aren't there like typical like kids movies where like what's the Adam Sandler movie where he has a little kid following him around all the time?
Oh, Big Daddy.
Big Daddy. There's like movies like that have that formula where it's like someone who's not a father in like not a good parental role, but then they get stuck with a kid, and then by the end of the movie they turn into a softie.
I'll be honest. This lawsuit actually does sound like the basis of a movie where for some reason the judge agrees with the parents and says the kids and it's one of those where
they're like, we don't have this type of money, we're gonna have to have a kid.
Exactly. Or they're like, ha, we're gonna adopt a kid and try to circumvent the lawsuit, and they end up falling in love with the kid.
That's all right. Pitch it. Write it down.
Big Daddy 2. It's Big Daddy 2.
Big Daddy 2 was also the name of our Big Daddy 2 was the name of our podcast before we settled on Two Moves.
All right, and that's your move for the week. Now, guys, I do have to confess something. I pulled a Matt. I goofed on the show. Every single time we do a show, I have my own custom Matt's Lonely Thoughts theme
This is
song.
the first one that you've ever missed. Do you want to pause it and just
go home, get it, and come back?
Let's do this. Let's just leave like 30 seconds of dead air. You could edit it
and then you're gonna react to it.
I'm just gonna bob my head and then say, yeah, it was all right. It wasn't the best. Wasn't the worst.
It's like I just thinking, hey, this would be a good song, so let's chuck it up. No, I recorded it. It's in there. It's honestly one of my favorites I've ever done, and that's what makes it hurt even more. I thought I had transferred it over on the thumb drive to bring it here because behind the scenes I use a thumb drive to transport back and forth because we end up recording our shows and our shows end up being gigs of files because we're so funny. And so I end up having to transfer it via a thumb drive instead of via the cloud or something, and I forgot. So I don't have a Matt's Lonely Thoughts brand new theme. So what I decided to do was pull an oldie but a goodie. I think we actually referenced it a little earlier. Unknowingly, you didn't realize that we did that. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's one of my favorite Matt's Lonely Thoughts theme song. Two moves here again with your all-time favorite podcast bit. Matt Aloy, he is lonely just on his phone, surfing all night on Reddit just all alone. Hypotheticals are here, tough questions in the air. Kenny's thoughts he will share, Matt never does prepare. Please burn merch, but don't make him eat fruit. Matt's Lonely Thoughts for the move true. Matt's Lonely Thoughts. Come on now. Matt's Lonely Thoughts. He's a lawyer. Matt's Lonely Thoughts. Hey, move true. Matt's Lonely Thoughts. He's alone now. Matt, he's so lonely, he's so lonely, he's so lonely, he's so Matt. He don't eat fruit, he don't eat fruit, he don't eat fruit, he don't Matt. He's a lawyer, he's a lawyer, he's a lawyer, he's a Matt has lonely thoughts, it's lonely thoughts, Matt's lonely thoughts. Because you were saying, there it is.
There it is.
Unknowing.
There it is. There it is.
All right, Matt, what's your lonely thought?
First off, the commercial with
Scoop, there it
Scoop,
is.
there it is.
That's pretty good.
Super
It's
solid, memorable commercial. All right, Kenny, I went to SeaWorld, not to like.
Wait, did you go to SeaWorld or See the World?
I went to SeaWorld a couple weekends ago.
The Office.
And I was just remembering how, there was a whole thing with the killer whales being in captivity.
Oh, yeah. What is it, Blackfish?
Yep. And, just other animals, penguins, captivity, and,
Yes.
and what are they called? Their little environments, their enclosures, and all that. Mm-hmm. Let's say
I know what animals are, yes.
You get abducted by aliens.
Ooh.
The best hypotheticals are usually alien involved.
By the way, I think you're about to describe an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark from Nickelodeon, but continue.
Okay. Don't know that episode. But you get abducted by aliens, and you are in an animal enclosure.
Yeah.
Let's go through, and they're just like, you are here for the rest of your life.
Okay.
You are now in a zoo.
Yes.
A galactic zoo. You are now, whatever.
Okay.
Let's go through the things. What kind of tricks would you show for treats? Would you do for treats? What would your treat be? And what would you want your enclosure to be?
Well, so let me say this.
What kind of enclosure would you want?
It has to be something like close to my normal habitat. So me doing something dumb, it's like, oh, I want my trick to be like, oh, let me do the little finger wiggle thing.
I'm going to do the hand under the armpit.
Yeah, exactly.
Fart noise.
Yeah, exactly. But like, that's not what we do in our normal life. So I'm thinking, you know what? You know how they have those parrots that repeat what they're saying? Because I talk for a living. Mm-hmm. I think what we could be like, it's like, oh, look at this exhibit. Whatever alien noise you're going to make, he's going to mock you.
He's going to try and do it.
Yeah. And
then you just hear some weird noise that your vocal cords can't even make, right? And you're just going to try. You're like,
but then I'm gonna do it in my by the way, with the way the lights are, it looks like I got like rosacea, like little shiny cheeks. But the way I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna be like a dude in the dunk tank, and I'm just gonna be making fun of him, like, look at this guy with 7 tentacles over here making this ga noise.
And then they like laser beam the dunk box or whatever.
Let's see, my habitat would probably be it would be me in front of a microphone.
What if it was just like, okay, would it be just like one living room and you just have like a kitchen and like that's it? Or is it like the enclosure is so big it's like a house with like a little bit of a lawn? They just literally grab your house and put it in it. They replicate it.
See, they couldn't do that just for one person. It would have to be like how in SeaWorld they have like the penguin exhibit where there's a bunch of penguins living there. It would have to be like
it's basically The Sims.
Yeah, it would be you, me, and like
you're talking and all the aliens here is
I think it would be a studio apartment, but then like I would have a microphone with a speaker that goes out to the environment.
You just press the button, and you're like, "Hey, everybody! Welcome. Good to see everyone here." And so what treat would they, if they could go to the little kiosk and buy treats for the humans?
Ooh, that's a good one.
What's the treat that they're buying to feed you to do your tricks?
So if it truly was like, it would be like, oh yeah, they put the quarter in, they turn the thing, but an entire cheeseburger comes out, and so they're just giving me like a bunch of
They're
cheeseburgers.
gonna be it's just tacos. Like a taco just slides down and it's like all messy because it's just falling apart. But they use the John Hopkins tape
Ah,
to
I
keep it
like
together.
it. Ooh, what if the John Hopkins tape is all an alien?
So the trick, the trick
Yeah.
that you do is, and I'm going to leave you to describe it. But for the people that are watching, it's the dance where you're going like this and kicking your feet out left and right. It's like that the cowboy I'm hooting and hollering dance.
It is. It's like the hoot and holler and hoedown. It also reminds me of the remember the old commercials with the Six Flags old man.
Oh yeah. The
I
bald
think
guy.
It's
yeah.
like, and I think it would be one of his wacky dances.
right, or something. Okay, you're like, you got taken away from Earth. You were completely into pop culture. You do like the MC Hammer dancing. you
true.
you Michael Jackson moonwalk, and like aliens just like totally freaked out by that.
That just spurned a Kenny's Greatest Thoughts idea. So remind me, I got to come up with a Kenny's Greatest Thoughts theme because the next time we do this, I have an amazing one that I think
An
could
amazing,
work.
great thought.
Yeah, amazing, great thought. I only the greatest thoughts. So I think that would work. The only thing is, would they classify you and you'd be in the exhibit because you're a human or you're a specific type of human? It's like, oh, here's the white, pale-faced,
Well, okay. Well, think
suburban
like when you
man.
have the penguin exhibit at SeaWorld, you have like the emperor penguin.
Yeah, but they're not all like together.
Yeah,
There's,
they
like,
are. There's like emperor penguins and the penguins
I
with
thought they
the
separate 'em.
eyebrows. No, they're all in one.
Yeah, but like the monkey
then,
exhibit,
like, in
there's
the
different
aquarium-
types of monkeys.
In the aquarium, they have like the different types of sharks.
Yeah, but
and
they don't put all the sharks with all the dolphins with all
They'll
the.
mix them
No,
together.
they don't, because the
But all
sharks
the-
would just eat everything.
There's hammerhead shark. There's the tiger shark.
That's
and a
what
bunch-
I'm saying.
So-
So you're basically saying all the people from Florida would be in one
No,
house
they would
together.
they'd be like, we have a Caucasian here, we have an Asian kid here. This is representative of human beings, and go through
Okay.
varying races.
Now, would
And
you-
basically, what it is it's real world. It's
That-
real world
exactly.
in a zoo.
do
real
you
world
think
in a zoo.
so? You know how like sometimes little kids,
Big Brother.
they'll sit there and they'll be like, mommy, that monkey's peeing, and the monkey's just like peeing everywhere. Do you think as a human in front of aliens, you could just be like, I'm just gonna duke, just right in front of everyone, just like turn around and just let it
That's
go.
how you just get kicked out. All of a sudden, an alien is coming into the enclosure and like tranquilizing you and removing you from the habitat.
Do you think they return you back home?
Well,
do they just jettison you out in space?
They take you into the enclosure and they're like, we're trying to save them. And eventually they release you back into the wild, back on Earth, and you're just like, that's what these crazy people in downtown on the street, homeless people are. They're
That is
like,
true.
I've been abducted by aliens. Let me tell you about the aliens. They just got released back into the wild.
I like it.
That's
And-
a movie.
and just
That
leave
is
it
a
alone.
movie, dude. That could be a comedy. That could be a Seth Rogen comedy.
You do realize that's just that's a recurring skit on Saturday Night Live, right? That
I
they were
don't, I
doing.
don't watch it.
Yeah,
What
that,
is it?
that was literally a recurring.
Take a doodle, I love you.
Okay. All right, guys. That was episode 66. Thanks for joining us. Hey, thanks for putting up with us being away for quite a bit. I know that we always want to try to do shows at least once a week, and we when we can't do that, we recognize it, and we know that it kind of affects it. But I will admit, and last thing I'll bring up. We get stats every single week based on our downloads and everything, which is great. You guys are awesome. It's been fantastic how many downloaads we get.
Kenny tells me when people download the episode,
But yes.
and I'm amazed.
So here's the
I
thing.
get texted like once a week. Someone downloaded
It's like
our.
3 people. Can you believe it? Anyway.
If you were the person that went back and downloaded,
So that's why I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
We hadn't had a show in like 2 to 3 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and yet we've had hundreds of downloads, which means not just one, multiple people are going nutty downloading all of our episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And to them, I say thank you.
I want to know who it is.
I know, me
I want to
too.
have you on the show.
There's
Who-
at least
who
multiple people.
are you?
And
Why
I'm-
would you
and
want to
then-
listen to
But
this
really,
shit?
it's like, why? Like, we're not that entertaining.
Do you not understand that Obi-Wan Kenobi is out on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
What
like,
are you doing?
Guys, you know you can rewatch The Office. It's-
Stranger Things.
No, I mean,
is-
no. I'm even saying it's like, guys, you don't even have to like watch new stuff. Like, rewatch The Office.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much better than listening to this show.
Let us know who you are.
Please.
I say good day. Dang, I meant to tell of our listeners